Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. Got a few little updates before I bring my guest on. I really want to talk about a big bit about Easter. I hope you had a nice Easter, those who celebrate Easter in our community. Also, it was a fabulous thing that was happening. This is the first time in 32 years that Ramadan, Passover, and Easter was on the same week. And so we had a lot of holiness going on in the world. I know we had a lot of other things going on in the world, but sometimes we just have to kind of focus on what our uplift is. And for me, my uplift is really around spirituality and the good news of the gospel. The Christ was risen, that's an opportunity for us to be a part of our life, to know that we can overcome many obstacles in our life, and that there's a power greater than us that's in the world. For our belief, it's called Christ Jesus. That's always with us. It's a spirit that's with us at all times. And so I had a nice Easter, and the weather was doing its thing in Seattle. If you live across the country, you might have had better weather. It was a great day. And it's always a great day when you're alive. And it was always a great day because you still have an opportunity to get some things done and to be a presence, be a positive presence on the planet, and also to do all the good that you can do. I mean, that's what these days are about. As we focus on how we can not only be better persons ourselves, but what can we give to the world. And also, I just wanted to remind the listeners, especially mothers listeners, that the 2023 Alternative Talk 1150 listeners survey is available. And if you please go to www.1150kknw.com and fill out click on the image there for the 2023 listeners survey page. And there's a good chance that you could win a trip for two to Victoria. On the Clipper. So make sure you do that and tell your friends about it. And so I just wanted to bring that in. But also, I know that we have a lot of stuff going on in the world. And I'm still waiting on my guests to come on with Gabriel Prwal. He's with A. Philip Randolph Institute. But I know that people are really concerned about what happened in Tennessee. A lot of things are happening in Tennessee and around the world. But what I want to just keep paramount in my worldview, is that there's a lot of things that's going on, but there's a lot of good stuff. And a lot of times we don't get to hear what's good. I mean, we had a tragic event that happened here last week, a week ago, this past Saturday, with Elijah Lewis being shot up on Capitol Hill. He was a young man, 23 years old, doing a lot in his community. Actually did a lot for a lot of people. He was well known. And at 23 years old, he made a definite impact on our community, impact that sometimes you don't see that kind of impact with young people. And a lot of times we do, we just don't know about it. And a lot of them do live to grow older. And we've had just a lot of sorrow in Seattle in the last few months, just a lot of sorrow. And I guess it's Seattle's time to have that kind of sorrow. But anyway, we just have to keep moving through, keep supporting the family. If you go to King County Equity Now, there's a website that you can go to that will tell you all the things how the ways you can support the family. And I think there's a GoFundMe page also. But the brilliant young man, and actually he was taking his nephew to an event. His nephew had just had a birthday, and he is 9 years old. He survived the shooting. The suspect has been, he turned himself in. He didn't leave the scene. And it looks like he's been charged with maybe road rage and that type of stuff. So one of the things that we have to continue to know, that really we need to calm down. I mean, so much energy in the world right now and so many things going on, and so much opportunity for us not to be focused. Lots of opportunity not to be focused. So we have to keep our mind on what's good. And that's hard to do a lot. I'm telling you, I'm not Pollyanna, and my head is not in the sand, but I do know that there's a lot of good happening. And if we can keep ourselves focused on the good, then if we want more good in the world, we have to talk about good. we have to call good. We have to, I mean, whatever we call and whatever we speak out in manifestation, whatever we speak, it becomes a law of a law of my word, and it is manifested. So I'm encouraging us to speak life and to speak joy and to speak all the things that you want to see in the world. Speak that more, because we surely have a lot of things that we don't want. I mean, it's apparent. It is so apparent everywhere. But again, I got good news. My grandson went on the commitment airplane with the Black students going on the HBCU Black College tour. I think it's kind of hard to call him Little Chakundi because he's taller than his father, Chakundi Salisbury. His name is, so I call him Chakundi Tall. But he was on that. He's on that plane, and if you go to Converge Media, you'll see it there. And his uncle actually made that video. Converge Media was made by, a video about the commitment airplane, Alaska Airline. Was made by his uncle, so he has a double pride. He's going on that commitment airplane, and the video was filmed. It was made by Converge Media, so that's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good for him. So I'll just say I'm real proud of this as a grandma, and if it's dad, and then my granddaughter came by yesterday to visit me. Occasion, I call her Occasion May, and we have great great conversation. She's a great conversationalist. She's been talking like that ever since she was 5 years old. So now that she's in her 20s, getting to be late 20s, but knocking on the door at 26, she's really she's a real great conversationalist, and she has really in the past she has hosted my show when I was not available. So anyway, I'm just talking until my guest comes on here, and I'll have to take a break in a few minutes and check that out. But we just want to keep the uplift going. Oh, he's here. Okay, well then, fine. We're going to bring on my guest now. His name is Mr. Gabriel Prwal. Don't have as many minutes now, but he's going to talk about A. Philip Randolph. I'd have to say, hi, Gabriel. How you doing? Gabriel, are you there?
Harriet. I'm here. Hi. How you doing?
Oh, okay.
I'm doing fine.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, thank you. Well, I don't have as much time now, but listen, let's talk about A. Philip Randolph and the party, and then next week you're going to come on again, and we're going to have a longer time. But we got about 10 more minutes now to talk about. So welcome. I know you from a long time, so just talk a little bit about what you do in the world and this great organization called A. Philip Randolph Institute.
Thank you, Mother Harriet. My name is Gabriel Prwal. I'm the president of the Seattle chapter of the A. Philip Randolph Institute, and I'm also vice president of ILW Local 52. For those who don't know who Randolph is, A. Philip Randolph and his friend and fellow activist Byron Rustin founded the APRI organization back in 1965, and that's the chapter. So right now we have about close, or maybe over 150 chapters nationwide. Randolph and Byron Rustin was the chief organizers of the 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. And also, they were instrumental in organizing the passage to the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. And this organization is organization that they built to continue the work. It's been doing a whole lot of good work all over the nation. And here in the Seattle chapter, Randolph's birthday is on the 15th, but we do our membership meeting on the third Monday every month. And this month is fall on the 17th, so we will be celebrating A. Philip Randolph's birthday on the 17th. And we want to take this moment not only to celebrate, but to connect with our community, our labor community, African-American community, and also our brothers and sisters from every part of this city or even state, because we want to make people acknowledge that there's a lot of work to do, and this organization here is doing work, and we always need people to participate and join us. But one of the things that we're doing, we have a special guest that we invite that's traveling all the way from North Carolina to Seattle to join us to celebrate A. Philip Randolph's birthday with us. And her name is Danielle Brown. She's one of the chief organizers back in the South, in North Carolina. she was instrumental in mobilizing members of APRI up in Georgia while there was all the election campaign that was going on when we was trying to get the right people in office versus all the attack that people being still receiving there in Georgia today and even in Tennessee, as we see that what happened not too long ago with the 3 elected official, and they decided to expel 2. This is what the APRI do, is inform the people on what's going on, so to make sure that you can make the right decision and getting the right person in office to do the right thing for the people, for the voters, and for humanity itself. You know, APRI has been instrumental in hosting Charles Rowland African American Legislative Day for almost 19 years in a row. And this is and what we do, we bring elected official, governor, his department's head, legislator, and senators in one room to communicate with the voters and the constituents into sharing the information on the work that they're doing, and also answering questions from constituency group or even their own constituents that vote for them in office.
You know,
17, so go ahead, Mala. I don't
No. I mean, I was just going to say that you know, I've gone to a few of the ACE's birthday parties over the years, and it's always delightful. You always meet good people, and sometimes you get new people, because anyone that's in, you know, any person that's especially African Americans, but other people who worked on a union, actually, who's a union person, can actually become a member of the Philip Adolph Institute, and then come in and see how they can help make their community better. And at one time, I think we had a little bit more chapters in the state. I think it's chapter down in Tacoma. Is that chapter still going?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, yeah.
APRI, we like a family, and we supposed to all work as a family, whether in another state or whether locally. So that's the thing I love about APRI. And when we have our national conference coming up in August 9 to the 13 in Reno, and there's a good opportunity for people to really meet APRI members from all around the nation if they're interested in going.
Well, yeah, I've gone to 2 of them. I went to one when it was in Oakland or San Francisco, I believe, that time. And then I went to one when it was in Jacksonville, Florida. And I tell you, if you're a member of a union and you are, you know, an affiliate, and you want to do work in the community, A. Philip Randolph Institute is a great place to come. I mean, I've enjoyed being a member there. I'm not a union worker. I've never been a union worker for many, many years, but I own my own business, and I like what it stands for. I'm also empowered by people who come from Florida, that has made the world so much better. I mean, A. Philip Randolph was born in Florida. And so I have a record of all the people who came out of Florida that did such good things in the world. And Ace was one of those people, one of those persons who's done a great job. So I'm just really, I'm just really glad I'm just really proud of being a member of the A. Philip Randolph Institute. And I just want to congratulate you on the work that you all been doing. And I can remember the work you did around Katrina. I mean, and all these places where things was going on in the country, that all the work that the A. Philip Randolph Institute did, the APRI did to get resources to the people in some of the other places that was having tragedies and stuff like that. Yeah.
And that's the work that we should be doing. That's the work that A. Philip Randolph inspire people to do, because as a person and a representative of A. Philip Randolph, you are responsible to do the things that are going to make us have a better world to live in. You know, and I so proud to be part of A. Philip Randolph, because it changed my life and my thinking and the work that needs to be done. But not only that, is that I have the responsibility as a person in doing the work that we do, which include economic justice for our community. It also includes connecting our community into labor or unions. It also include educating our community and the participation on the political system and process. So, and even getting people out to vote to make sure that we get elected people that's going to do the work.
Right. Yeah. Well, you want to announce again about what the date for the party before we're done?
So it's going to be April 17 at 6 p.m. at the Labor Temple. That's on 5030 First Avenue South, Seattle, Washington, 98134. That's again 5030 First Avenue South, Seattle, Washington, 98134.
And what time is it going to be?
At 6 p.m. At 6 to 8 p.m.
6 to 8 p.m. Okay, well, this is really good. So I appreciate you coming on. And also for the members who might miss the show today, they can listen to our podcast on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. There's a podcast for Mothers Just to Show. So anyway, I look forward to talking to you again next week because I want you to come back on to talk about it and give some more updates.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me.
All right, you're welcome. You listen to the Mothers Just to Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Prwal. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Hi, this is Dr. K. Mahina Intron, inviting you to tune in on Mondays on 1150 KKNW at 5 p.m. to Dr. K's Attuning to Your Abundance, where we honor everyday abundance through positive messages, poetry, music, affirmations, and writing exercises. For more information, contact Dr. K Workshops at gmail.com or Facebook, Dr. K's Abundance.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. And I'm so excited about my next guest. And before I bring her on, I want to remind the listeners about the survey. It's the annual survey. It's going on from March 27th to April 23rd. And it's on 1150. And it's you can go to online to www.1150kknw.com and click on the image of the 2023 listener survey. And you have a chance after you do that. That's going to be, you have a chance to a bonus for filling that out. It's a round trip, a chance to win a round trip ticket passage for two on a Victoria Clipper. Plus $100 in gift certificate. So to the famous Dave's restaurant. So click it on. And so go and do that. I really appreciate you. Appreciate all my listeners and supporters. I want to bring Miss Stephanie Johnson on now. She's my guest for the rest of the time. Hi, Mrs. Johnson. How are you doing? So good to have you on my show. It's so exciting what you bring. I'm director at the Black Heritage, president there of the Black Heritage Society of Washington, and I'm such a history buff. So it's my Bible. I mean, history, and I don't do pop culture because it stops you from connecting the dots, and that's what's necessary. So welcome to it's a little different from Converge Media. You've been on that your mainstay there, but.
But I'm excited to be here with you today, Reverend.
Really? Well, welcome so much. So welcome to you, and I really appreciate you saying yes to coming on. And I know we just have a lot to talk about. I'm really interested in how you got number one, how you got so interested in history.
I know. Well, see, I as a kid, like probably any other kid. Young kid, I didn't have a lot of interest in history because I felt like it was so stale, and you'd sit around in class and they tell you about all these old white, pioneers and people of what they did or what they were accomplishing. But I never heard anything about myself or about Black people, So I really didn't have that huge interest until later in my life. Um, some of it did come early as I tried to hang around the living room at my grandparents' house and listen to, what was going on there as they talked about, everyday life and situations in Seattle, but also, nationally, what was going on as I was growing up in the late 50s and 60s. I'll date myself.
Right.
So that's, sparked some interest for me early, but not until later in my life when I really started pursuing some interests and curiosities on my own.
Right. Were you born here in Seattle?
Yes, I'm a fourth generation Seattleite.
Oh,
So
oh my goodness. Yeah.
I know.
That's really cool.
I know. It was my great grandparents on both sides of my mother's family. So her mother and her father, their parents came to Seattle. Oh, it was early 1900s, so as early as 1913 they were here.
Wow.
And of course, the situation being a lot different than, of course, what we see today, or even what they saw 20 to 30 years beyond when they first arrived.
Mm-hmm. Wow, yeah, I can imagine what the 1913. You're almost as old as the NAACP. I think it started. I mean, it's over 100. Yeah.
Right, you're right. See, I never thought about it that way. But yes, you're right, because my grandparents, Lita and Henry Gordon, my grandmother's parents, lived south, very far south, on Beacon Hill. So past, where the old Zion Prep.
Right.
So in that area is where they settled, and it was all woods, and they had a small farm, and it was really interesting going there. Even in the late 50s, when I would go, they still didn't have all the amenities, that most people had. With lights, their lighting was very limited. I remember that, and so yeah, it's been a journey for me.
Wow. And what kind of employment were they able to get in the early 1900s?
Well, my grandmother, both sides, both of them were homekeepers. They were housekeepers. They for at home and then outside of the home. And my grandfather found work, miscellaneous kind of construction, carpentry, other forms of, day work, that sort of thing.
Wow. So they were able to make to make a living and to stay here. I mean, to stay here. I mean, it probably wasn't a lot of opportunity for the Negroes in those days. I mean,
no.
West, right?
Yeah, no, but where they found a lot of joy and reception was in the church.
Yes,
because the churches were the places where the hubs, right?
Yes.
Where Black people, when they came to Seattle, that's where they went, and they were embraced by the church.
Yes, and it's so different today. I mean, my community, I grew up in Goldsboro, which was one of the first oldest Black townships in America. That was. It was 1902 that it was settled, and they had sort of disbanded when I came along, but it was still a cohesive community, and the church was so near and dear to our heart. So anyway, I just wanted to also ask you, did you have a nice Easter?
Oh, I did. What's been really interesting for me, though, personally, is through this last year, I lost my mother, who was the matriarch of our family.
Oh, bless your heart.
Last summer. So, our tradition has taken kind of a new slant just a bit to it. So we did get out the ham, the glazed ham, and and did our thing. But yeah, so missing mom on her throne, but knowing that she's watching over us. So.
Oh yeah. And how many siblings did you have?
I just have one sister.
One sister. Okay.
I have one sister, Denise, who is very active at First AME Church with her husband Bobby Brown, and they have been members at First AME for a number of years. So yeah, just my sister and I.
Wow, that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I thank you for that background piece. Did you go to Garfield?
Oh, I'm a Cleveland Eagle.
Oh, okay. All right. Cleveland, where are Cleveland? Oh, Beacon Hill. Okay.
But my heart always was in Garfield, right? Because my most of my family lived in the Central District. My cousins and my grandparents lived in the Central District. So I hung out in the Central District a lot, had many friends at Garfield, and would try and be at Garfield as much as I could, right, to hang out with my friends and cousins. So,
yeah. So you knew, you were growing up when the Central area had a lot of businesses and those type of things too, right? I mean, because yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot there were businesses that were still around in the 50s and 60s, but what was really the high point and hub of Black business was the late 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a really fabulous little book that's written by one of the Black Heritage Society co-founders, Jackie Lawson, that's called Let's Take a Walk.
Oh, okay.
And in that booklet, it takes you all the way down up and down the Madison corridor, but also a little north and south of it to talk about all of the businesses that were there and the people who ran them.
Wow.
And I am really excited too to say that Seattle Public Library entered into an agreement with Jackie's family. Jackie passed away a couple of years ago, but made an arrangement with her family, with BHS being the liaison between them, to digitize the booklet.
Oh.
So now you can go online to the Seattle Public Library and see that map and that path and the book. You don't even need to have a library card to look at it. So it's called Let's Take a Walk.
Let's Take a Walk. Yeah, I have to do that. I'll have to do that. And so you grew up in, you got interested in Black history, and then you found your way to the Black Heritage Society. Is that right?
Yeah, I found my way, interest in history, took an interesting path. As I was encouraged, when I left high school, graduated high school, Cleveland, I went to Whitman College, and I was at Whitman in Walla Walla for my first year. And it was really difficult there, being in Eastern Washington and only one of 3 Black women on the entire campus.
Right. I can imagine.
And everything was happening at the University of Washington at that time. It was like,
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I made my way back to the U, and I worked in the Office of Minority Affairs with Larry Gossett. And
oh my goodness.
Bill Hilliard was there, and Sam Kelly, and it was a beautiful place to be at that time when there was heavy recruitment of Black students.
Yes.
And encouraging Black students. So there was a lot of activity. My interest grew and grew and grew more around history. I eventually, through several paths of working in interpretive programs and public programs at museums, found my way to lead at the Black Heritage Society, though I had been a member there for a number of years, but just began leading there 5 years ago.
Wow. And I'm sure you had lots of contact and experience with one of my dear friends, Esther Mumford.
Esther is like the rock that I swim to. right? Esther, I stand on Esther's shoulders. Esther, I would probably talk to her every day if she would talk to me.
Yeah.
I am such a history nerd, and I look up to Esther so much, and I don't live far from her either. So Esther was with Jackie, co-founders at the Black Heritage Society, but there were a number of founding members too in the community at that time.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
That included a number of people, the Yarboroughs, which
the Yarboroughs. Okay.
The Yarboroughs, yeah. Fletcher.
I think we photographed
Fletcher.
them. I think Salisbury Photography photographed the Yarboroughs. I believe I got a bag of negatives with the Yarborough name on it.
Oh my gosh, really? Oh gosh, Reverend, that'd be beautiful to see those, because there is one photograph that's in a little booklet that Esther wrote after the first 10 years of being founded. And there were images that were taken by your studio in that booklet.
That's right. Yes.
So it was a really beautiful photo of Esther with the Cravens. Ethel Craven.
Oh yes, with the Cravens. That's right.
With the
We photographed them also, the Cravens, right. We went over to
Roslyn. Ben McAdoo and his wife Thelma. Right. And it's a really great photo. I love it. It's one of my favorites. And so Esther is amazing historian.
Yes. Yes. I wish I could be just half as good as Esther. I mean, I talked to Esther yesterday. Esther was one of the first persons I met when I came to Seattle in 1975. I met her and a lady named Margarita Delgado. So we've been friends for a long, long time. And so I actually, Esther called me yesterday about something. We had a brief conversation.
I love talking to her too. That would be wonderful if the three of us could get together in a room.
Oh yes, it would be. Yes. I collect the New York Times magazines, the little pull-out, and I don't take the paper anymore. But she had some for me, but I wasn't able to get them. I said, well, I'll have to release those. I can't keep them all. You know how we historians are. We like.
I know. I am so terrible, like that too. I go down that rabbit hole. I start looking for one thing, and then the next thing I know, I'm like 10 places ahead of myself. So I am.
But it's people like you and Esther and the Black Heritage Society keep our history alive, because where we are in America today, we're going to need our history down the line. I mean, because things are rapidly changing for us in America, and I don't think that we are attuned so much to it, because we kind of thought that Washington State might be a little immune, but people are fastly moving in here, and the landscape is changing, and so I think people are going to have to recognize where they are. They're still in America.
Well, and who better to tell it than we tell our own story?
That's right.
Don't leave it up to other folks to tell our story.
That's right.
And so that is one of the important pieces and priorities at VHS, is that we maintain and we preserve this collection of oral histories, but also memorabilia and photographs.
Right. Yes. And I think I spoke to you about Salisbury Photography photos that we have. I mean, I have the negatives, but there are some things that I'm going to show you and see if you might be interested in those photographs, portraits. I mean, actually, they portrait size that we had at the studio when we were in business many years ago. So.
I'm sure we would, because anything that comes to us is in perpetuity. That means forever. So exactly. I hope beyond us, right?
Yes, that's right. That's really good. So we'll take a break right now and come back and talk a little bit about Marcus Garvey. How's that? Yes, that's one of my favorites too. All right, you listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host. We'll be right back.
The Mother's Justice Show is brought to you by H.G. Walden and the Virtues Healing Circles. Join us for Wisdom and Wellness with Reverend Walden, a monthly virtual and in-person healing circle that focuses on community healing and growth. Learn more at virtueshealing.com. That's virtueshealing.com. Also, be sure to join our healing group on Facebook. Again, visit us at virtueshealing.com today.
Hi, this is Dr. K. Mahina Intron, inviting you to tune in on Mondays on 1150 KKNW at 5 p.m. to Dr. K's Attuning to Your Abundance, where we honor everyday abundance through positive messages, poetry, music, affirmations, and writing exercises. For more information, contact Dr. K Workshops at gmail.com or Facebook, Dr. K's Abundance.
You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. I want to remind my listeners that there's a survey going on, a listener survey going on now for 1150 AM KKNW. And for March 27th to April 23rd, please go to www.1150kknw.com and click on the image for the 2023 listener survey and just give some feedback to the station. And then also you will have a chance to win passage for two on the Victoria Clipper to Victoria, plus $100 a gift certificate to Famous Dave Restaurant. Also, I just want to remind all my guests and listeners that this Mother's program is available on a podcast. Also, if you missed the show, if you know somebody else that didn't get a chance to listen, so those are two announcements. Miss Stephanie, I want to talk to you a little bit here about my favorite person, Marcus Garvey.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Well, yes, I do want to hear more from you about that. And I know just enough to get me in trouble with the history of Marcus Garvey. And here in Seattle, you know, he was here in 1919 and then came back again for a visit in 1924. And so there is some recorded history of him being here in Seattle. And also the Black Cross nurses, who were a very important auxiliary.
Yes. Well, I was sitting up here before this 23rd changed so much at the old post office, and that's when African Town had their first gathering again, and all these people was there, and they had all this food, and it was like a big potluck and a big thing. And this lady just came up and sat by me. And she started talking, and then she mentioned Marcus Garvey. And I said, well, you know, we host the Marcus Garvey Book Club. And it started out as a Central Area Book Club. And we've been doing it now since 2007 or 8. I mean, it's been a long time. Okay. And she says, my mother gave flowers to Marcus Garvey. And her name, I believe, is Catherine Wilkins. And I'll get her information. And she has three other sisters. And she said that her mother, all of their lives, she talked about the flowers. She talked about Marcus Garvey all their lives. That's how they knew about Marcus Garvey, because they weren't born then.
Right. Well, well, you know, again, with Esther did a really fabulous, she was part of an oral history project in the late or mid 1970s. And then where she started gathering oral histories for a centennial project here in Washington State.
Right.
And she eventually made her way to an interview with Juanita Proctor. And I'm wondering if that is Catherine's mother, because Juanita tells this story to Esther that when she was about 12 years old, she met Marcus Garvey. They went to Union Station. And she was asked to hand the flowers to Marcus Garvey. And she remembers it really well, because she thought from the pictures that she saw of him that he was this really tall and commanding person. And she said at 12 years old, he was about the same height as her. And she goes on to say that they went to Washington Hall. He delivered he delivered a speech at Washington Hall.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And but the Black Cross nurses, though, had almost 100 nurses here in Seattle.
Wow.
Or a group of auxiliary,
Mm-hmm.
an auxiliary. They weren't, certified nurses, but they received training in, right, which was, they were Black Cross, but Red Cross, same.
Right. That's right. And they were locked out of going to UW to become a nurse in those days. They had come to Jesus move afterwards, but people didn't go there. So yeah.
So there was they were very important, though, in the community in terms of visiting homes and children and tending to the well-being and care.
So
hygiene in homes. And the other thing Juanita talked about in this really beautiful interview is she enjoyed the parades because the Garveyites used to parade, and she remembers clearly the 4th of July. And there was one other holiday she named where they would march through downtown Seattle. And there came a time, though, when there was a little bit of contention between them and the NAACP, right?
Yeah, right. The NAACP, they had some dealings after a while. Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so one year when they went to apply for their permit to march, the NAACP, said to the city of Seattle they didn't think it was a good idea. Just really interesting history. And you mentioned earlier how when you and I were just talking about, how we leaned into or didn't lean in to support some of the folks in our community, our own community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whether it was political or, personal, whatever it was.
But also, Garvey, he was such a great orator that he could out-talk anybody. But also, he was a Jamaican, and all the other people that was organizing was born in America, and so he had that piece going on. But they also had class and colorism going on. See, I mean, it was a lot. It was colorism that was going on also, what I like about Garvey was his boldness and determination, and he had a plan. But he had a plan that was necessary for us to do for self, and not depend on other people to help us. And all the other groups was funded and always had other people helping, and that's still true for today. But the one thing that Garvey wanted to empower Black people that, up in my race, accomplish what you can. I mean, really, people who, we built all kinds of civilizations and all kinds of things before. It's just remembering that we can do this, because when you've been taught for so long that you're not capable and you this, that, or the other, then you have to be awakened. And Garvey was part of that awakening, and did not care if it fitted within the status quo.
I agree. It was about understanding our self-worth.
That's right.
And that's what our self-worth, our esteem, our appreciation for one another, and for what we've built, and empowering one another, right?
Right.
And I read something too, again, back to Juanita, is that she said that her mother and father were, very dedicated supporters of Marcus Garvey.
Right.
What was instilled in them was, don't be afraid of the word Black.
That's right. Don't be afraid of the word.
Yes. She remembers her father saying, well, white people don't have any problem saying white people. Why should we have a problem saying Black people?
Black people. Wow, but one time, there was a large following of Garveyites here in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle at one time. I got some coins that the chiropractor Richard Haynes had given me, and when we usually do our Marcus Garvey birthday party, they're not coins that this in use right now. But most people have never seen Black people on money. And then when you give him a coin, I mean, because my son Omar used to have money. He had money because he was in East Africa, so he had currency with Black people on it. But most of us who've never traveled outside of the country and traveled to an all Black country, you've never seen Black people on currency at all. And just to see that, I see the kid's face look the difference on their face when they see a Black man on a quarter. that would be would be equal to a quarter. It's not in use no more in Jamaica. But the one thing that all the people that I've met about Garvey, I mean, who knew Garvey, I don't know anybody who knew him personally at this day and age, but also just what he kept going, and the young person that was there in his teaching was Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and a lot of the things that Garvey taught wound up in the Nation of Islam. Do for self, the newspaper. I mean, all of those kinds of things. I mean, they one time had a school in Chicago. I mean, and Garvey said you must have images that look like you.
Right, and again, it was about doing for ourselves, finding
That's right.
That the pride in our own self-worth, and so I think that today, we too are revisiting all of that. I mean,
all of that.
And the young people today, I'm so excited about hearing them and their voices.
Oh yes.
And almost demanding back to the streets to demand that, respect. Right.
Because what we don't understand is that at the turn of the last century, Black people had more skills than anybody in America, because we had built the South, we had built the country. I mean, Black people, and then at the turn of this century, we had less skills than most people.
It's that technology. Right.
That's
that we weren't invited to the table on that.
No, we wasn't in it. They didn't need us to build that, but we built. We were the laborers. I mean, we had all the skills to build buildings and to build things. But we were locked out of that other piece, and so that's one reason why we were behind. But when we came into the 1900s, Black people had skills. Coming out of bondage, coming out of slavery, we had skills. I mean, our ancestors had skills because they built their own houses.
Right. Well, and then, here in Seattle too, even though we didn't have licensed architects and builders at that time, they were architects and they were builders and they were contractors.
Right.
Even though they didn't have that paper to say
that's right.
They were building and constructing homes and other businesses. So, I think that there'll be a chance to talk about some of that even Wednesday night, or the Black Architects here in Seattle will be at the Museum of History and Industry.
Oh my goodness.
Free public program.
Okay.
It's in the evening. It's at 7. I wish it were a little earlier in the day or on a weekend, but Rico Corandongo with, I think Donald King, Vivian Phillips will be moderating.
Oh, good.
And to talk about, Black architects here and their vision and how they see.
Right. And I know Black architects had something to do. I mean, had some design in Africa, the Liberty Bank building. I mean, in the inside, and they worked on that. And also, I think they're working on the next building that Africa Town is putting up on Union. See.
Yeah, the artist work within the buildings is really beautiful work.
Right.
And the Black architects did. You're right. They came together in a community conversation around the Africa Town. The affordable living. There on 23rd and Spring.
That's right.
Lori Wilson.
That's right, yeah. Lori. Yes, I went to a meeting with some of those people that they were collaborating about what they wanted to see and stuff like that, and they asked the community to come. Yes.
Yeah, she'll be there Wednesday evening.
Oh, Lori. Well, that's really cool. So wow. Well, I tell you, I just love history, and I'm just so excited to talk to people. I mean, because I just think that if we understood the power of Blackness that has gotten us through, the power that our ancestors had to live, and the power that they were determined to live on so, and through such degradation that we could be here and now to be here in this time. I mean, I'm just so inspired by that, and it's like, wow, if we could teach our children. I grew up singing, I lift every voice and sing every day of my life. And so, and I never had all my teachers was Black, but if we could just teach our children the basic things before they leave the house, you know, just who they are, where they come from. I mean, the good work that we've done, because there's no shame on us. The shame is on the people who stole us. And we've been carrying the shame, but it's not our shame.
Right. And, you know, I always looked around, even in grade school. I went to Van Asselt Elementary. My grandmother went to Van Asselt on Beacon Hill. And I always looked around to see who was in the room with me, teachers. I didn't have a Black teacher here in Seattle Public Schools until I was in junior high. I probably was maybe 8th grade before I even had my first Black teacher.
Wow. Wow. Then that shapes it. That does something to you, you know. And then
yes,
when you get in the room with other Black people, then you can get to feel comfort and this kind of stuff. But you know, I'm so glad you was on my show today, and I hope to have you on again. And I'll get with you about the portraits that I have that you might be keeping in give to the Black Heritage Society. So I'd be willing to. I want you to look at those. Okay.
Okay, I can't wait. We have a lot to talk about.
Oh, we do. We have a lot to talk about. Well, I want to thank you for coming on Mother's Justice Show, and I'll be talking to you later. You've been listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. I'll see you next week. Thank you.